In space, no one can hear you. That was the promise. In 2008, a small team at EA, Redwood Shores, delivered one of the purest survival horror experiences ever made. A game that made players terrified to move forward and terrified to look back. Dead Space felt special. It felt dangerous. But over the next decade, that nightmare slowly bled out. And not because of the monsters, but because of the own company that owned them. This is the story of Dead Space, how a brilliant horror game became a franchise, how that franchise was changed against its will, and how the studio that created it ultimately died with it. Before Dead Space, EA Redwood Shores was mostly known for licensed games. James Bond, The Godfather, Tiger Woods. Then they took a big swing. They created something original, a sci-fi horror game set on a mining ship overrun by grotesque, limb-severing creatures called necroforms. No traditional HUD, stomp mechanics, strategic dismemberment, pure tension. Dead Space released in 2008 to strong reviews and sold over 1 million copies. It wasn't a massive blockbuster, but it felt like the start of one. The studio was rebranded to Visceral Games, a name that perfectly fit their new identity. Dead Space 2 2011 doubled down and for many perfected the formula. Bigger, scarier, more personal. Isaac Clarke finally had a voice and a tragic story. It was critically acclaimed and sold better than the first. But even then, the pressure from EA was building. Horror games are risky, and they wanted bigger numbers and broader appeal. Visceral listened, and that's where the cracks started to show. Dead Space 3 was supposed to continue the horror. Instead, EA pushed hard for changes. They wanted co-op. They wanted more action. They wanted it to appeal to wider audiences. The game still had terrifying moments, but the tone shifted. Microtransactions appeared in a single-player horror game. The focus moved towards shooting human enemies alongside necroforms. It sold decently, but nowhere near EA's expectations. And that disappointment sealed the fate of the franchise. Plans for Dead Space 4 quietly died, and the studio that made the series, well, they were slowly pulled in other directions. In October of 2017, EA announced that they were shutting down Visceral Games, the studio behind one of the best horror franchises of the generation. It was gone. They were working on a story-driven Star Wars game at the time, led by Amy Hennig. If you don't know, that's Uncharted. But even that project was taken away and restarted elsewhere. Dozens of talented developers lost their jobs. The soul of Dead Space, the place that understood dread and the atmosphere better than anyone, was erased completely. In 2023, EA Motive released the Dead Space remake, a faithful, beautiful recreation of the original, and it was excellent. Fans loved it, critics praised it. It sold almost around 2 million copies, but it still wasn't enough for EA. As of 2026, the franchise is reportedly on ice. No Dead Space 2 remake, no new sequel. Plans have been shelved again. Even the original creators have been turned away when pitching new ideas. So what happened to Dead Space? It was a reminder that great horror is difficult, risky, and expensive to make. Visceral Games created something special in a genre most companies treat as niche gambles. Then the machine decided it wasn't worth the risk anymore. The fear it created, it still lingers. If you've never played Dead Space, the remake is the best way to experience it right now. But keep in mind that it's still $70. What do you think should happen with the franchise? Should they keep going or let it go to rest? Let me know below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.